What if I told you there's a very easy way to earn 45 cents a day and even have those investments grow and make you earn, for example, 2 euros a day? And what if you could earn, imagine, up to 10 euros a day? That would be like raising your salary by 300 euros a month. Well, that's what I'm going to explain in this video. Point number one is what Ventus Energy is and if the early exit works. First of all, if you don't know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Antonio and this is Invant APPs. I should mention this is the third video we've made about Ventus, which I'll link here and at the end, okay? So you can watch that series. In today's video, I'm getting straight to the point on a few things, like that cashback campaign. We're going to invest 5,000 euros live, so stick around, okay? It's crazy. So I don't want to overlap with those topics, and that way you can watch it later and it'll be perfect. And the first key thing I want to show you is that I'm an active investor. Look, we have 14,000 euros, we've made over 1,200 euros in profit, and we have 5,000 euros to invest together. Also notice that we're going to look at the Christmas campaign and the loyalty program. I want to show you something, and that is that the other day I tried, and this is the second point, the early exit. And you can see that by mistake, I used the early exit, and I can tell you it works very well. In fact, you can see I'm suspended here. Because, well, when you, let's say, sell something with an early exit, which I was fully aware of, you have a 180-day period, okay? So when those 180 days are up, I'll have it back. Also, I'm going to show you the impact of that early exit, okay? Look, I had, well, this level of over 10,000 euros, which is very good. The next one is 25,000. With this investment, I'll be at 20,000, so I'll be very close, okay? But I'm also going to show you the impact. Why? Because I ran a test. What was the test? It was to see if I could sell, for example, the minimum in one project. I had about 1,200 euros, and I wanted to see if I could sell less than 1,000 euros. I accidentally put in 500 euros and it sold. So, since I used it by accident, well, I want to show you. Look at the impact it has, huh? This loyalty bonus, that 0.5%, that seems small. But look, as you can see here, on the 15th, in this 38 megawatt project, Powerhouse, well, I was earning 97 cents. I made that, well, as I said, accidental sale because I wanted to test if you could sell less than 1,000 euros. And from 97, I went to Powerhouse, look, to 93 cents. That is, that loyalty bonus was practically giving me 5 or 6%. You can see how this one, well, 97, 49, this one, 201, 051. Well, that 201, for example, is now 192, okay? This, well, look, 049 is now 047. So it might not seem like it, but this loyalty bonus is super good. I want to comment on this because I've seen some videos out there even saying that the early exit didn't work and so on. Well, I'm telling you, the early exit works wonderfully. Not just for amounts over 1,000 euros, but even for amounts under 1,000 euros. The problem is that if you have that loyalty bonus, you will be suspended from the program for 180 days. But if you need your money, you can get it back at any time. Key number two is going to be that brutal Christmas campaign they're running right now at Ventus Energy, which is the most competitive in the entire crowdfunding and crowdlending ecosystem right now. To start looking at it, the first thing we're going to do is go to this part on the left, okay? Christmas campaign. And then stick around because we're going to invest together and I'll tell you how to get there. In fact, I'm going to show you an account that is already generating 10 euros a day, which is incredible. 300 euros a month. Let's look at the details because it's very simple, but there is a concept that you need to understand very well, and that is the tier or level. So what will they have? We have an investment pool of 10 million euros. Notice that there are still over 7 million left, so we can all participate. Here it says it's from November 14th, okay? Until, well, it's been about 10 days until it runs out. They're going to give us a 7 or 8%, and there are some special bonuses, let's say, additionally to reach 8%. That is, they'll give us a base of 7%, but if you reach those thresholds, they'll give you a little more, up to 8%, okay? The cashback is instant, it will be reinvested in all that. Notice that here you can earn a maximum of 20,000 euros per investor, which is incredible. Now let's see how I'm going to invest and they'll give me that bonus. So let's see the before and after. Notice that right now it says 0, number of participants. And what's the key? Well, these are the levels. So what am I going to do? And now we're going to do it together. Notice that we have the 1,000, the 5,000, 1,000. So you have to reach each of the levels. We are going to reach tier 2. When we invest the first 1,000, what will they give us? 70 euros. Then we're going to invest until we reach 5,000. It's important that to get the bonus, we have to reach those tiers. In other words, Antonio, if I had to invest 4,000 euros, what cashback would they give me? Well, look, they'll give you 7 or 8%, but then if you use the referral bonus that I'll leave below, they'll give you an additional 1% more. So look, you invest 1,000 euros. How much will they give you? 70 for the Christmas campaign and 10 euros more. Imagine you invest up to 4,000, you invest 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. How much will they give you? Will they give you that 7%? No, they won't give you that 7%. Why? Because you have to reach the tier. What they will give you if you invest 3,000 more euros up to those 4,000 is 30 euros from the 1% of the friend bonus. Okay, that's clear. So once you reach 4,000, then when you invest the other 1,000 euros, they'll give us the 5,000. They'll automatically give us that bonus of 280 euros. Okay. When we reach the 20,000 mark, you'll see that the bonus, well, they'll give us 700 and then another 200. Why? Because 200 out of 20,000 is 1%. So if we reach 20, 50, 100, 150, 250,000, okay? Hopefully a lot of people will get there. Well, they're going to give us that additional 1% bonus, which means we can reach a maximum of 8%. And if you're new, with that friend referral bonus, a maximum of 9%. It's truly insane. Right now, it's the most powerful one. Then everything will also count towards the loyalty bonus. And look, 889 and my earnings 0. I'm saying this because we're going to invest in the next step together. And I want you to see how I'm moving up. So without further ado, let's invest. Perfect. So look, I have 5,600 euros. All right, come on. I'm going to invest to get this. First of all, let's see. What's my historical profit? 1,190. Why? Because the bonus goes directly there. Okay? 1,190. With that 70, it will go up to 1,260. All right? So we can do it all together. So come on, let's go. It says 889 here. Guess who's going to be number 890? Come on, let's see if anyone beats me to it. So I'm going to invest here. Now, there are several projects here. You have to make sure they have this Christmas campaign activated. Okay? Because there are others. See, look at this. They come from an early exit. So those don't count. So I'm going to go here, for example, to this one with 16%. They're all very similar. I'm going to invest. Come on, I'm going to invest 1,000 euros. So I've just invested 1,000 euros. Now we can see that my historical profit is what? 1,260.48. Exactly what I just told you. I'm going to the Christmas campaign and let's see how many there are now. To start, I don't have 5,600, but 4,600, and there are 890 participants. Guess who was number 890? And here are my earnings. I'm here now. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to reach the next tier. Notice that it also accumulates. It tells me I have to invest 4,000 euros more. So I say, okay, perfect. I'm going to invest. I'm going to do it in 2 parts. I'm going to invest, well, I don't know. In this one, for example, look, in the other one, okay? I'm going to invest here, but how much did we say? 4,000, right? All right, well, I'm going to invest 3,000. Okay. All right, I'm in. Perfect. Very good. Look, what's my historical profit? 1,260. Whoa, Antonio, you didn't get anything. Of course not. Why? Because right now I'm at 4,000. Notice that I have 1,650, okay? It's very important that to make the most of it, you invest in stages. If not, then maybe it's more interesting to consider other options. I'll just leave it at that. All right, so I'm going to the Christmas campaign. Let's see. To reach the next one, I have to invest 1,000 more. Okay, I'm number 890 with 70. Now, by investing this extra 1,000, this bonus will be unlocked. So come on, I'm going to invest here. I don't really care which projects are available, okay? As long as they count for the Christmas campaign, because both are offering 16%. All right, Antonio, so I'm here now. Come on, I'm going to invest what 1,600 bucks. Come on, I'm going to invest 1,000. Boom. What just happened? Well, look, I've effectively invested that amount. The profit has shot up to 1,540. In other words, I've just earned 350 euros for free. It's that easy. Take a look. And I'm going to go to the Christmas campaign and we'll see it. I had 5,000 here. Hey, so I've already invested that 5,000. This is the permanent one. And my earnings, 350 out of 20,000. If I scroll down a bit, there I am. Look, I've already filled this one here, okay? Notice that it's important that you have to reach the target. In other words, now I would need another 5,000 to get to the 10,000. If I invest 3,000, will they give me anything extra? No. I have to invest 5,000, okay? So if I had, for example, imagine 7,000 euros, these 2,000 euros, if I want to take advantage of the cashback campaign, I would possibly invest it in another option. However, besides, I want to leave it at that. I did this so you can see how it works in case any of you are reaching these levels, but you already know I like to diversify. So we've already loaded up to this amount. Notice that they've given us a very good bonus, but we already have, wow, we have a pretty respectable amount of 20,000 euros. So with those 20,000 euros, look more or less at the amount they're going to give us. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to show you an account that also has 20,000 euros so you can see it, okay? This one isn't mine, but just so you can see. This is another account, a similar one. Look, it has a 17.93% return. The funds we have invested, we still have the Anubis campaign, and there's about 22,000 euros invested, okay? If we go to the statement section, this is what I want you to see. You can see what daily payment they're giving us. Look, 9.87, 9.86, 9.85. It's just super powerful, okay? Like I said, this is from the 24th, the 23rd, the 22nd. Almost 10 euros a day with 20,000 euros, okay? I mean, it's a respectable amount, but it's not a million euros. We can have 20,000 euros and we're getting 300 euros. And above all, so you can see the power of compound interest, because a little while ago on the 30th, on October 31st, it was at 9.76 and it's going up by a cent practically every 2 or 3 days. Notice the power. Why? Because that compound interest gets reinvested, so it gets more and more powerful. 9.87, 9.86, 86, 85. Notice that it changes every 2 or 3 days. This is the power of compound interest. And point number 4 will be my personal opinion and next steps with VENTUS Energy. You've already seen how good and simple these returns are, right? How, in a way, as I say, little by little, okay? These 10 euros are when you already have a certain amount. But many of you, when you start with 1,000 euros, which is the minimum, well, you get between 45, 46, 48, those 50 cents I mentioned. When you put in another 1,000 apart from that cashback, right? They give you almost 80 euros directly, which is 8%, 8%. You say, wow, 8%. 8% is what the European Central Bank gives you over 4 years, 2%, 2%. They give you that directly as cashback. Not to mention, if you also invest, for example, in the ING Orange account, which gives you 0.3% annually. So what you see here, right, for 1,000 euros, they give you 80. It's incredible. It's incredible. So what are we doing? We're creating a series of assets. You've seen it, 1,000 euros. It's true that the minimum ticket is 1,000, okay? So you're saving for 1 or 2 months, boom, 1,000. And you're already getting 45, 50 cents. You do another one and they start accumulating, they accumulate, and you start generating assets, which is the key to this channel, diversifying by platform, by everything. You know, I mean, for me, it's the usual. These are not investment recommendations, but rather what I'm doing because I believe it's necessary given the current situation. So if we keep generating these assets, well, look later when you have 2 little packages, what will they give you? 1 little euro. But then you'll generate more little packages and you'll go up to 2 euros. And this is super powerful, knowing that you're earning money while you're sleeping. If they give you 1 euro a day while you're sleeping, you're generating that 50%. Do you see the power of having assets so that they pay you little by little? If 20,000 was 10, 100,000 is 50. 50 times 30 is 1,500 euros a month. With that, there are many salaries that are lower than that. With that, you can already start to live. Not everything is so rosy because there's inflation. You'll have to increase that money. Then the tax agency takes a cut, okay? But what I want is for you to get the idea. And that, without a doubt, VENTUS does very, very well for us with those 16% interest rates you've seen, plus that 7-8% bonus, plus that refer a friend bonus of 1% as well. It's just incredible. And by relying on these types of tools and also diversifying other platforms, VENTUS, for example, is not regulated. I have to be completely sincere and honest with you, but there are others that are. The fact that it's not regulated doesn't mean it's good or bad or the opposite. It just means there are fewer watchful eyes. The responsibility falls on the managers. There are no governing bodies. Besides, all these platforms are obviously legal. That's crystal clear. But that is the philosophy of the channel. In fact, that thing I mentioned about selling, well, I got that from an early exit by a colleague on Telegram, okay? So I'm going to leave you the link to the Telegram group so you can join because we discuss a lot more things there too. This is the philosophy I want you to take away. Build assets and little by little, they'll start paying you. Antonio, 50 cents a day is nothing. I totally agree. It's not that it's nothing, it's just a little. But 50 cents plus 50 cents is 1 euro. That times 10 is 10 euros. And it keeps going up and up. This is a long distance race, never a sprint. If someone tells you you're going to get rich doing this or that in 3 months, run away because they're scamming you. It is slow, it is important, and it is boring. The more boring it is, the better. As Soros said, good investments are boring. But you have to keep building a portfolio of assets so that eventually, in a few years, depending on how much you put in, it gives you financial freedom or allows you to live much more peacefully. That is the philosophy of Invant APPs, and I invite you to join us if you like that idea. Well, that's all for now. Thank you so much for staying with me once again until the end of the video. Next, I'm going to leave you that VENTUS Energy course, okay? Because we've touched on a few other things here, and it has 2 more videos that complement this one very well, plus another video that I think might be of interest to you. Have a great afternoon, day or night. A big hug, and I'll see you in the next video.